So you guys know we've been tracking from early days that coal miner strike going down in Alabama with the Warrior Met miners. They've recently had some big actions up in New York City protesting outside of BlackRock HQ. We wanted to get an update on what is going on with those strikers. And so joining us now is Kim Kelly, fantastic labor reporter. She is a contributor to The Real News. She writes a labor column for Teen Vogue. She's also working on a book called Fight Like Hell, The Untold History of American Labor, and has been all over this strike from the very beginning. Great to see you, Kim.
Good to see you, Kim.
Thanks for having me back to talk about my boys.
Yeah, totally. Of course. So we have a little bit of imagery from that action that I referenced before, the protest outside of BlackRock HQ. Let's throw this first tweet of yours up on the screen, where you can see some video that the AFL-CIO put out of some of the protesting workers at the actions that they've been taking. You say they really are living up to their motto, "We are everywhere." We also have a video of mine workers president Cecil Roberts speaking outside of BlackRock HQ. Let's take a listen to that now.
They're offering up themselves, just like the Civil Rights Movement, just like Gandhi, just like Moses, just like Jesus. This is as old as the Bible itself. It's as old as the teaching of the Lord, that we must stand and take back what is rightfully ours, brothers and sisters. And I want you to know something. Ain't nobody gonna turn us around. Ain't no BlackRock gonna turn us around. Ain't no Warrior Met gonna turn us around. Ain't no judge gonna turn us around. Ain't no injunction gonna turn us around. There ain't no jailhouse gonna turn us around. United we stand, divided we fall. A wrong to one is a wrong to all. And as Dr. King says, someday we'll all be able to say, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. God bless all of you.
One of the great orators in the labor movement right there. Kim, just give us an update on what's been going on.
Sure. So this has been in the works for a little while, but something that kind of added some fuel to the fire, if you will, is that last week in Alabama, a judge laid out a temporary restraining order against the union and its members at the behest of Warrior Met, which forbid them from picketing or even, just appearing within 300 yards of Warrior Met's mines or offices. So effectively killed off the picket line. So people are fired up, and they had this action to look forward to already, where hundreds of miners from a variety of states, union officials from around the country, they bussed and drove and, just they did what they could to show up in New York City and rallied with a bunch of local labor folk who came out to support, and they led a march down Park Avenue or Madison Avenue, one of those, big fancy ones, led a march down the streets to BlackRock's headquarters. Now, they've been to BlackRock before, and the reason they keep targeting them specifically is because BlackRock owns about a 14% share in Warrior Met. So they're Warrior Met's bosses, and they're allowing Warrior Met to continue to do all of these shady maneuvers to try and break the strike. So the miners decided to show up and let them know what they thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's important, Kim, that we give people some more background here, both in terms of BlackRock and Warrior Met. What is the core thing that these miners are fighting for?
So 1,100 coal miners in Tuscaloosa County, Alabama, have been on strike over unfair labor practices since April 1st. Now, we're in their 8th month on strike, and it has been grueling. They are trying essentially to get back what was taken from them that due to the contract that they signed 5 years ago when Warrior Met bought the mines and came in. It slashed a lot of the things that they needed and had fought for in previous contracts, like $6 an hour taken off their pay. It messed with their benefits. It messed with their overtime, their time off. It really is just a terrible contract. And so they've been trying to negotiate a new one and a better one, because now the company is in robust financial shape and they can afford to treat their workers properly. Apparently, Warrior Met has not seen it that way, contract negotiations broke down, and they've been out on strike ever since.
And have there been any movement in terms of the company being willing to come back to the table whatsoever? And how are they moving forward? And we've covered here at John Deere, they're using this insane idea of pulling the white collar workers in to do what the blue collar workers were doing. That doesn't seem to be going all that well for John Deere. But what sort of strategies has Warrior Met employed?
They've been using managers and putting them down on the long wall, which I've heard the miners describe as a pretty bad idea. If you can imagine taking somebody who works in an office and sending them 2,000 feet underground into an underground coal mine, it's a little dicey, to say the least. And they've also brought in an army of scabs, replacement workers. They've had billboards up as far away as West Virginia and Kentucky trying to entice workers to come down and help break the strike. And they've really, their production has fallen. They've lost about $7 million already on this strike. They're really shooting themselves in the foot, but they still refuse to come to the bargaining table and offer anything meaningful. And, they're trying to starve these people out. And over the past couple of months, they've ramped up efforts to actively break the strike by working with the sympathetic courts to get these injunctions and temporary restraining orders laid out. And they really, they're not playing fair, to say the least, and the miners are fed up about it.
Yeah. What is the end game here, Kim? How long do you think that Warrior Met Coal could try and hold out here?
It's hard to say. I know that the union isn't ready to give up. They've been out there 8 months. They're already making plans for Christmas. They're making plans for after that. They're dug in. The company wants to break the strike, and the company wants to break the union. Their ultimate goal is to decertify the union and not have to deal with them anymore. And we've seen this repeat over and over throughout the history of coal miners in this country. The company tries to break them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This still isn't the longest coal miner strike we've seen in this country. I think Massey Coal has that honor, but it's a long one. And really, these miners need as much support as they can get at this point. So it's been a long haul, and it's turned violent on the company's part. So really, they're fighting for their lives out there.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, Kim? How can people support these miners if they're moved to? And also, what is the spirit like of the families who are involved here?
The best way to support them, besides donating directly to their strike fund, is to send material support to the Women's Auxiliary. That they've been doing incredible work. They've been putting together grocery bags and personal hygiene bags and baby bags for over 200 families every week, relying on donations from local community and from folks like you. They've been keeping these families fed, and they just actually sent out their first round of boxes for their Christmas toy drive. So these union kids are going to have a happy Christmas, even if their parents are still worried about what's going on. Now, I know folks down there are tired. They want to go back to work. They want to be done with this, but they're not going to give up until they get what they need. They've put in way too much. Some of these folks have put in decades underground, sacrificed their youth, so they can feed their family and, have a decent job in a place that doesn't have a lot of those on offer.
Right.
They're not going to give up, and they need as much solidarity and support as possible. One thing that is going to be fun for people watching from home is that the UMWA is going to be expanding its efforts, and it's going to be paying more visits to more places that are enabling this to happen. So there's going to be more actions out there. And I would encourage folks to follow along with the UMWA's website and their social media pages for those announcements, because I think December is going to be pretty wild.
Awesome. Well, we'll have a link to the strike fund and more in the description. Kim, really appreciate you joining us and giving us the update. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. And thanks for staying on top of this, guys. Follow Kim at GrimKim on Twitter for updates on everything that's going on, and we'll continue to keep you updated as well. Great to see you, Kim.
Thank you.
So much. Take care.
You too. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.